Hey guys, this is Nazar with Provident Real Estate. Thanks for taking a minute to watch this video about how to successfully do loan modification, or at least some couple tips that might help you along the way you might have not have thought of before. Now if you're watching this video, the chances are you're probably in the process of doing a loan mod or thought about doing it. And the very first thing that I would say is you have to decide if you want to tack on doing a loan mod by yourself or if you want to hire a company. Now, there used to be a lot of loan mod companies out there that would charge a fee to do loan mods, and because of the rules nowadays, they are unable to charge you up front, and those companies have gone through the wayside. However, attorneys can still charge a retainer, and so you still have a lot of attorney firms, or law firms, excuse me, that do loan modifications. And if you're going to choose them to do loan mod for you, you just got to be careful that you choose one that has a good successful track record of successfully completing loan modifications for homeowners. If you decide to do it yourself, or if you are in the process of doing it, you'll realize that it can seem like a part-time job because it is very labor-intensive to be able to get all the documentation that the banks are requiring in a timely manner. So if you're trying to do it yourself, here's a couple of tips that might help you along the way. Number one is document everything. Every single document that you're going to be sending to them, including your pay stubs, your W-2s, your bank statements, the 4506T form, anything that the bank requires of you, your hardship letter, you want to make sure that you write on the very top your full name and your loan number on every single page of the transaction. I know that this might be frustrating. You might even decide to get those sticky tapes or those little labels and put that on there. We do that in our office, and so you can just stick it on every single page of every document that you fax over to them. That's going to save you a lot of time, it's going to save them a lot of time, and make sure that there's nothing that gets lost or minimizes that from occurring. Number two is keep a log of every single conversation that you have. If you just get a piece of paper and write the name, the date, and the conversation that you have, the person you have the conversation with, the documents that they've asked from you, the documents that you've sent over to them. If you keep a log of every single phone call that you make, this is going to help you if there's any issues down the road, and it's also going to help you stay on top of things so you know exactly what was your last conversation with them, what was required of you, the dates and time frames and so forth. So everything's all in one place so you can go to, so you can be nice and organized and have a better success that way. The second thing I would say is you want to make sure you're speaking to the right person. A lot of times homeowners call, they're actually talking to the collection agency for the bank, and they need to or they don't realize that those people have no effect or have no control over doing any type of a loan modification or anything else to help them out. All they're to do is collect a payment, and that's why they over and over again ask, hey, when can you make a payment? Please make a payment, and those are the ones that kind of bug you. So you want to make sure that if you are doing a loan modification or trying to get information, you want to make sure you're talking to the loss mitigation department. The loss mitigation department of a loan or of a bank is going to be the people that are going to be able to help you, give you the information that you need, collect the documentation from you, give you the correct information and time frames and so forth. So make sure you're speaking to the right person so you're not wasting time and getting frustrated with a department that's not right. Another thing is stay calm. Throughout the loan modification process, you'll notice that you're speaking with representatives that, the average age I think is 25 years old, not a lot of education. So you end up speaking with people that are making a little bit above minimum wage that really don't care about your situation. And so you end up getting really frustrated with them, and when you get frustrated, they get frustrated. And that's when you encounter a lot of dropped calls, or I like to call them, missed calls by accident, and so those agents just will hang up on you. They deal with all kinds of people every single day, and if you're rude to them, if you're obnoxious and you're ornery, they sense that over the phone, and they just don't have time for it, or they get frustrated because they deal with these people, or they deal with people every single day. So I would say if you're calm, if you're collective, and you give them what they want when they want it, and are just nice, that's going to go a long way with you. I promise you. Number 5 or 6, wherever we're at. Be honest. If you're in a situation where you lost your job and you are in a position where you're not making any money or making very minimal money, and knowing that even if they did a loan modification, no one's going to give you the house for free. Your payments are not going to go from $4,000 to $1,500. That's just not going to happen. So be realistic. A good website to go to is makinghomeaffordable.gov. That's a good website to go get information about what you could expect, what your loan payments can be, or what they could be dropped down to. And seeing if you don't qualify, then you know that you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time as far as the loan modification is concerned. And you want to make sure you're also honest with them. If you are making X amount of money, and you buffer that, or you tell them that you're making more just so that they'll approve you for a loan mod, all that's going to just bite you in the butt afterwards. Because if they do end up modifying your loan based on faulty information you give them, then in 4 or 5 months or 6 months or a year later, you're going to be in the same exact position. So I would say, be honest with yourself, be honest with them. Over the long period of time, that's going to be the best situation for you. Another step or another tip that's very important is how to write a successful and a compelling hardship letter. The very first thing is you got to make sure that the hardship letter is handwritten. A lot of people say, well, Nazar, I've got crappy writing, or I don't want to write it. It's much easier to do on the computer. I acknowledge this, you guys. I know it's a pain in the butt to write. If you misspell something, or if you forgot to include a sentence, you have to start all over, and so it's frustrating. So the tip that I would have is write on your word processor. Write it on your computer, and once you have it all buttoned up and looking, sounding just right, then go ahead and copy that onto a handwritten document. And if you've got crappy writing, then have someone else that has a decent writing to write it for you. Last thing you want to do is send them a hardship letter that's illegible. So you want to make sure it's legible. You want to make sure it's handwritten. And what that does is it compels them to know that you're sincere. You're just not a computer that's drafting this document. So, and then another thing is, make sure that when you are writing your hardship letter that you explain exactly what's happening. This hardship letter should not be 3-5 pages. It shouldn't also be a paragraph. It should be about 1 to 2 pages, concise, to the point, with a little bit of emotion, explaining your situation of when you first started going into default, when you first started your hardship, and why you can't come out of it at this point, and why you need their help. So those are the things that you want to make sure that you include in your hardship letter, so that they'll consider you for the modification. Another tip is to be on top of things. Make sure that you don't wait for them to call you, that you call them on a regular basis. We'd advise that you call them at least 3 to 4 times, every 3 to 4 days you make a call. So maybe once every other week, or once in the beginning you can call them twice a week, once every other week, and when you're rock and rolling where they have every single document that you're looking for, you might want to minimize that down to maybe a once a week phone call. But you want to make sure that you are on top of things, that you don't forget about them, because they could forget about you. Or there's been instances where our clients have said that they have submitted everything, they thought that they have everything, and then lo and behold they get foreclosed on. And what they didn't know is that the loan lender still needed something. They had sent them a letter, and the homeowners had just never gotten that letter. So you want to make sure that you call them at least on a weekly basis. You don't want to bug them calling them every day, because then they'll get annoyed with you. But if you call them at least once a week, in the beginning maybe every 3-4 days, that's going to let them know that, hey, look, this person's motivated, they're serious, and then it's going to allow you to know exactly what they're looking for, and so when you get those things that they're looking for, that you give them right away. So don't roll your eyes. Don't get frustrated. If they say, we need this form, and you just sent that form to them a couple days ago, just say, you know what, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for letting me know that that document is still missing and needed. I've sent it to you a couple days ago, but I'm going to go ahead and send it to you again. Thank you so much for letting me aware that, bringing it to my attention that that's still needed for this document, or for my file. And then go ahead and fax that over to them. Make sure that you put your name, your loan number, and you're good to go. And last thing, definitely not least, is be patient. The loan modification process takes a while, and it's frustrating. And I know that patience is more than a virtue, is needed for a loan modification. The only thing is if you know that you can't qualify, if you lost your job, or there's an instance where you're not going to be able to make that modified payment, then just holding out for a loan mod, all that's going to do is make it to where they foreclose on you. The foreclosure timeline does not stop while they're processing or reviewing your loan modification process. So I hope these tips have helped. If you have any questions or would like more information, please don't hesitate to give us a call. You can reach us at 951-444-8020. And if you have any additional questions or would like more information about your other options that are available to you, you can go ahead and give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to walk you through the process. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you some other day. Bye-bye.